16 points. 16 points is what separates the top three coming into tonight. The season finale of Tier 3 here at Yas Marina. It is between Rhythms, Resilience, and Neymar. Who will secure the championship? Who will come out on top? Let us begin. We are here. We are live. Ready to go for the Tier 3 Season 6 finale here at Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. Ironwolf on hand for comms tonight. I would be racing tonight, but Shorts, our commentator for the last two rounds in round 9 and round 8, could not make it. He is slammed with exams. Poor guy. But we'll see what happens in regards to that. So, as I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, it is a tight fight for the Drivers' Championship. Rhythms and Resilience separated by 1 point. That's how close it is. It is the closest fight for the Drivers' Championship going into this finale here tonight. And then Rhythms to Neymar, third place. 16 points separates the two of them. They are both in the Red Bull. And I've already laid out the scenarios to have it done. If Neymar has an opportunity to win the Drivers' Championship, pretty much he has a tall order ahead of him. So basically, for Neymar to win the Drivers' Championship, if he gets P1, Resilience must finish 5th or worse. And Rhythms must be 6 and worse. If Neymar gets P2, Resilience and Rhythms must get 9th or worse. If Neymar is 3rd or anywhere else, he is out. For Resilience to get it done, if he can get the championship knocked in, basically, he has to finish ahead of Rhythms and hope that Neymar gets 3rd and less. Even if Resilience gets P9 and Rhythms gets P10, Resilience wins on count back because Rhythms only has 1 win to his credit, while Resilience has 2. So the results from the Tier 3 last week, it was at Qatar. It was the sprint weekend for that one. Both the sprint and the main race was won by Mickey. He was the winner in both the events. Resilience came up in 2nd in both events as well, while in 3rd place, Rhythms was 3rd in the sprint, while Neymar was 3rd in the main race. And why is everyone retiring? Oh! Let me take a look. Let's see here. Force cockpit camera is on, so we will be restarting. We'll be restarting this session. And everything else is correct, but looks like force cockpit camera was put on. So that is what happened there. So, give us a moment. We're going to be restarting in a minute. Okay, hopefully everything's fixed and everything's all good to go. Talk about a mess and a half that was. Having that forced cockpit cam too, that's just a big kick in the ass. Alright, actually let me just take a peek because I was on the phone when they got that set. Okay, yep, so that's good. 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 Why you have it on clear, I don't know. That's all good. I'll change to red flags, but that's fine, who cares? Okay, and he changed the damage rate to reduce, okay. Well, it's standard, but oh well. Looks like it's all good. Okay, take two! Oh, talk about a mess and a half. Let's go. Let's take a look at the drivers that are participating here tonight. So, I'm just gonna go down the line here. So, we got Savage in the McLaren, Ivesy in the Alpine, Rhythms, Red Bull, Veloce in V-Carb, Scorenzi, Aston Martin, Mickey, McLaren, Timbed and Invade in Haas, Ardell Williams, Ridian in Ferrari, Zero in Aston, Gobert, V-Carb, Pavelson in Kick Sauber, Resilience in Ferrari, Dylan Cyrils in Mercedes, Neymar Red Bull, and Supervillain on loan in the Alpine. So we have no second Sauber and no second Williams. So let's go on. Let's ride on board with Neymar, the driver in third place in the Drivers' Championship. Coming out of the final corner, gets it going with the overtake. Firing down the main straight, down in the 7th gear to around 180 miles an hour. First braking zone, turn 1. Nice and easy, riding the curbs, heading towards turn 2. Now, flat out into turn 3. Stays around 160 miles an hour out of 4. Into the first speech in the DRS mark. 17.3 for his first sector time. Into the hairpin to turn 4. Now, down the main straight. DRS active. Overtake active. Flying down. Drops. Fiddles with the ERS. Gets to around 207 at the speed trap. Heavy braking zone. Turn 5 and 6. The chicane. Now, exiting out of 6, into the kink of 7, second DRS zone. Overtake engaged. Heading into the next braking zone of turn 8, the Abu Dhabi spoon corner. Now, 9, 10, and into the right-hander, into the 90-degree turns of 11, 12, 13. Keeping the feathering of the throttle active. Now through 14 and into 15 to wrap up the lap. Here we go. This is the benchmark for Neymar. And he gets a 23-1 for the Red Bull. Let's see who else is going to be wound up responding. More cars coming in. Supervillain 25-7. Ardell 24-1. 25-4 for Timbed. Here comes Rhythms across. He goes to the top of the top step with a 22-8. Ridian with a 23-8 on his end. Savage serving his quality band because he was there last second. Resilience with an invalidation, so he is going to have to wind up trying again. Cyrils 25-0 in the Mercedes. Next up is going to be the Aston. Pavel with 0, 24-4 for him. He's 4th. Pavelson, scrub lap. So he'll be going again and trying again. Mickey, 22-9 for his time. Ahasov Invade, 24-9 for him. Let's go with Dylan as As we move on, Scarenzi about to kick off a new lap. Veloce 23.9 for him. Dylan goes to 23.0 for his time. So just 0.2 behind the pole sitter of Rhythms. So Rhythms right now sets the first marker. Looks like Gobert with a 24.5 on his part. So only 2 drivers yet to get a lap in. We have Scarenzi, who's heading down into the chicane of turns 5 and 6. And Resilience went back into the pits. Is going to be trying again a little later on. Now the reports came out as we got more coming in. Pavelson just improved to 10th with a 24.6.99. That puts him 10th fastest. Solid work for him. Now let's see what Scorenzi's got as he comes into the last few corners and getting ready to get his time up onto the board. And where will he plop in? It's 5th fastest with a 23.2 for Scarenzi. Now Scarenzi, by the way, is going to be, I believe, if my memory's correct, is going to be in, I believe, is Red Bull next season. But let me just make sure this is correct here. Excuse me. Yep. So Scarenzi will be in Red Bull next season with Neymar. Let's see, Timbed and Dylan Vince, whoever that one is in Aston, Zero and Veloce in Vicar, Bezzecchio, Pavelson in Ferrari, Invade and Yavez in Haas, and Gobert and Drift King are in the Sauber. Alright. So it looks like Resilience is coming back out onto the track for another lap. Let's keep an eye on Resilience here. See if Resilience can do what he can. Because right now, after that first round stint, Rhythms has fired the first shot with that 22.8 on his repertoire. So he has the first shot right now for qualifying. But let's see what Resilience has in store. Resilience probably, I think, invalidated out of turn number 1. Just getting a little too wide and riding that curb in the out of turn 1. Let's see what happens here. Much better this time. In the turn 2 and 3. Very smooth. Very, very smooth here. Getting into there. 17.449. 449. That's just about a 10.5 behind Rhythms in the first sector. So here goes Resilience flying down into the speed trap. 211 into the speed trap. Gets it, drops it all the way down to 3rd gear into the chicane. Now back in it, flying with the overtake again. Couple cars ahead. We got Mickey and an Alpine out on hand. Might as well get out of the way, boys. Mickey moves out. Now into the last few corners comes Resilience. Will Resilience put in a lap that will rival with Rhythms at this moment into the penultimate corner, final corner now? Let's see what Resilience has, and across the line, and it's only 6th fastest, a 23.5. That's good. That is 7.5 tenths behind Rhythms. Oh man, that's really gotta hurt for Resilience there. And speaking of even more hurting, coming into the second sector, an eighth of a second up is Rhythms. So Rhythms is looking to put himself into the 22.6 here. Now into the last few corners, this Red Bull just sticks onto the ground in the corners. And heading into the last corners we go. Rhythms to come across the line will go much faster. 22.508 compared to his teammate, to the other competitors. Rhythms is over 0.6 of a second clear of Neymar and a full second clear of Resilience. So let's see. So looks like Mickey improved his time. He went to a 22.6. Same with Neymar improved as well with a 22.9. So now Neymar is within 0.4 of Rhythms, and Mickey still about a 1/10.5 behind at this present time. Let's switch over to Scarenzi, who's sitting in the 5th place spot. Will he get some improvement on his part? He's about 700ths up in the 1st sector. So let's see what happens in regards to the 2nd sector and moving on forward. Scarenzi really putting the power down, up in the 8th gear already, and get to over 200 miles an hour, about 204. Lost a tiny bit of time. He was 68 thousandths up in the 1st sector, dropped down to 49 thousandths. So Scarenzi lost about 200ths of a second in that 2nd sector, but still improving nonetheless. I mean, it is going to add a bit more buffer, but not by much. But hey, every little gap can help you in the long term. Coming out of the last corner comes Scarenzi. Across the line, 24 thousandths improvement. So he still remains 5th, but increases his gap over Veloce by about 0.07 of a second exact. Let's switch over to Gobert in the 12th place position. He's redoing his time. He's redoing his lap. Likely made a mistake. So we'll be retrying again. We won't have a full battery. He's at 94% instead of 100. But Gobert willing to try again. Sitting in 12th place right now with a 24.585. We'll see what happens here. Here comes Gobert out of turn 3 into 4. Coming up to the 1st sector split. 1/8 of a second improvement. Alright, so that is still going to keep him in P12, but it's just the 1st sector. 1st sector is pretty much the easiest section. It's only 3 corners. It's only 4 corners, pretty much. And he just pretty much almost dumps the entire ERS into there. That is Supervillain moving out of the way of Gobert. Now, back under the power as Chicane flying down. Into the 2nd sector split comes Gobert. And he improves to just under 1/4 of a second improvement. So Gobert will be going ahead of 0 at this present moment. But can he get close to Cyril's and Ridian, perhaps? Let's see what happens here. Coming out of the last couple of corners. Little wibble wobble out of turn 13. Now in a 14 and 15 to finish off. And he's actually gone back to the pits. He's abandoned off from his lap. Let's switch over to Ridian here. Actually, speaking of Ridian, he's improved by 1/4 of a second. That's going to put him just about on par with his teammate of Resilience. And this is something that Resilience does not want to fall even further down the order. Coming out of the last corner, across the line comes Ridian, and he goes 8th fastest at 23,687. So we have 2 Red Bulls and a McLaren in the 22s. 4th through 9th are in the 23s. And then 10th to 15th are in the 24s. The 2 slowest drivers right now, as Pavelson just went up to 11th with a 24,202. So, but the 2 slowest cars in regards to time is the Alpines of Supervillain and Ivesy. Let's go with Invade here, heading into, see if he could try to at least get some kind of points out of this regard. I do not have the updated constructor standings because EXO unfortunately doesn't have, he didn't update it. Basically we don't even have the round 9 graphics up yet, so I can't officially tell you where the teams are in regards to constructors and stuff. But one thing I can tell you, Invade got a little help from Pavelson on that second DRS straight. That's gonna help him, and he was almost 0.3 of a second up in that second sector. Alright, here we go into the third and final sector now for Invade. Sitting 14th right now in this qualifying session with about a minute to go. So this is Invade's last run right here. And coming out of the final corner and across the line he comes. Invade will go to 13th with a 24,453. And that's going to put him just behind Zero. Pavelson back in, and more cars getting in line here. So Rhythms and Dylan are in the pits right now. It looks like Mickey is redoing his lap. Is going to be redoing his lap. I think he'll make it in time. About 24 seconds left on the clock. He'll make it with between the 10 to 15 to 10 seconds to go mark. One person I think is probably not going to make it is going to be Gobert. Yeah, Gobert is in the penultimate corner now with 2 seconds to go. He's not making it. He's out. Gobert is done. Let's take a look at Resilience here. 0.3 of a second up in the second sector. Resilience, see if he can try to cushion the blow that he has lost. Over a second behind from Rhythms here. There's an Alpine dead ahead. Pavelson stays 12th. Ardell moving up to 8th fastest in that Williams. Here comes Resilience into 4th, gets ahead of Neymar for the time being, but Neymar is also improving. 1/4 of a second in the second sector. Scarenzi 6th fastest. Here comes Neymar 2nd, right behind. Is right behind Rhythms by 68 thousandths of a second. More cars filing on in. Supervillain 16th. Timbed will be in 15th. And here we go. Mickey, can he pull the upset, come across? He does improve by a tiny bit, but stays in 4th. So Rhythms will get pole position here tonight. So, and it is a Red Bull lockout. So Red Bull 1-2 for the front row. And Rhythms fires the first bullet. Vibrating controller. Love it. And getting the black screen to death. Oh, I can't see the whole grid, but we will when we get back into this. All right, so let's take a look at our grid here. So rhythms and Neymar will be the front row. Row 2 will be held by Dylan and Mickey. Row 3 will have Resilience and Scarenzi. Row 4 will be Veloce and Ardell. Ridian and Zero make up row number 5. Then we have Cyrils and Pavelson in row 6. Invade and Gobert in row 7. Timbed and Supervillain in row 8. And Izzy and Savage will be making up the back of the field. So we got a couple minutes before we get the race underway. So we'll be right back for a brief intermission. Alright, here we go. The 5 lights come on to start the season finale of Tier 3. Lights out and off we go. Good reaction from Rhythms heading into turn number 1. We got a crash immediately. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, gotta love that old saying. What in the world is Timbed doing? Timbed just cut the entire track for some weird reason. And we have wrecks and everything. But anyways, heading into turn number 4, into the braking zone. Dylan ahead of Mickey and Scarenzi looking on the inside here. Can't seem to make a move at this present moment. Scarenzi dealing with Ardell for the 6th place position. Timbed losing multiple spots. And Zero had a massive crash collected with Ridian. Not sure what in the world happened there. We just saw them both go off, and then what a mess and a half there. As Zero's also losing plenty of spots as well. Started in the 11th place spot, dropped all the way to 15th here. But Neymar falling behind from Rhythms, and Rhythms is ahead in this championship right now, and the first lap is done. It is Rhythms ahead of Neymar, Resilience, Dylan, Mickey, Scarenzi, Ardell, Pavelson, Gober, and Veloce. That is the top 10 there. Savage, by the way, just got past Supervillain to get himself into 11th. Savage up 7 spots in the first lap. DRS is now enabled. It's right on board with Scarenzi in 6th place. Well, after this second lap, we'll take a look and see what everybody's tires are for the laps here, as the Resilience trying to stay in tune with Neymar, and Dylan is now falling out of DRS with Resilience, so that will have him vulnerable to Mickey. Gober, by the way, just getting past Pavelson, seeing it in the background there. And that is for the 8th place position. Gober ahead of Pavelson. So the top 3 contenders have flown away, and out and away they go. And Cyril's trying to get past Timbed for the 14th spot. Timbed going wide out of turn 11. Rejoins in turn 12. Alongside with Cyril's. Looks like a small bit of contact. There is damage to Timbed's car. But Cyril's did get him back in the penultimate corner, and now is up into the 14th place position, trying to regain some of his lost ground here. Let's focus with the top 3 here. Resilience, Neymar, and Rhythms. Let's take a look at the tires. Everybody is on. Well, we can't count Zero and Ridian because they all started the positions. Gober had a moment. He has gone way wide out of turn 4. Lost multiple spots. It's dropped all the way down to 11. Savage up into there. Meanwhile, Veloce against Pavelson into the braking zone of turn 5. Turn 6, I'm sorry. But coming out of there, Pavelson and Veloce fighting here to go on board. Here comes Savage involved too. Little wheel-to-wheel contact between Savage and Pavelson. And into the spoon. They're still side by side, but Savage not giving an inch. He gets ahead and into 9th place. So let's take a look at the tires that everybody has here. So as Cyrils gets ahead into 13th place over Timbed, and Invade goes off for a little bit too. So yeah, so Ivzy, Cyrils, and Savage are on the hard compound tires. Everybody else is on the medium compound tires. So we won't know with Ridian and Zero because of that moment there. On the main straight, just seeing that. Savage getting past Veloce into... Oh wait, sorry, that's bar 2. Oh no, not bar 2. I'm very sorry. That's Savage. Yeah, bar 2 cannot make the race. Zero actually just made a spin in the spoon. He has made a mistake, and he's not having a great day. I will say that, in truth be told. But let's move forward up. Let's take a look. Is there a possible move maybe coming between the top 2 right now? Well, Resilience has now just fallen out of DRS to the Red Bulls. And that's news that they love to hear. Meanwhile, further back, Gobert and Pavelson battling for the 10th position. Gobert was on the outside on turn 7. But just couldn't get the move done. Trying again now on the outside still. Looking at the background here. Whoa, Pavelson goes for a spin. Got too greedy on the power. And away he spins out. That really gotta suck. That really has to suck for Pavelson. He was doing really good fighting with Gobert there, and then just got too greedy exiting out, and just the rear just completely snapped, and that went all awry for him. So currently right now, as the Drivers' Championship is sitting right now, as it sits right now, Rhythms will get the championship here tonight. We'll get the championship here tonight. But we're only lap 4 of 29 in this Grand Prix, so anything can happen towards the early stages here. Mickey with an oversteer lockup in the braking zone. Supervillain now getting past Gobert for the 10th place spot. Side by side. Now bear in mind, these two are Red Bull Academy drivers. Supervillain on loan and Supervillain up into the 9th place spot, but can it be held? Here comes Gobert on the inside into the Spoon corner, and Gobert reclaims the 10th place position back. Scarenzi still on par chasing Dylan and Mickey. Those two ahead are in the 5th and 4th place positions respectively. Now Mickey is about 3 seconds behind Resilience, and Invade becomes the first driver in the penalty box. That was in the 90-degree corners in the middle of Sector 3. So Invade, the first person in the penalty box for tonight right now. But how many more will join in that sense? And looks like we have an incident out of turn 4. That's Gobert. Gobert with a moment. So last lap it was Pavelson that had a moment. This time it's Gobert now. And speaking of which, Zeros just gets past Supervillain to get the 10th place spot. Let's go to Scarenzi, getting a lot closer. Ooh, bit of contact between Dylan and Mickey. Mickey got broke a little bit, got into the back of Dylan, but that would have been disastrous if everything went totally wrong. But Mickey's okay. Mickey is okay. Dylan looks okay. We're still going. And actually, Dylan is heading into the pits. And he is the first one off of the medium compound. So now, does this mean that his tires are not, these mediums are not lasting as long as we initially thought? Well, just before Dylan went into the pits, by the way, the biggest gainer was Savage, gaining 11 spots since the start, and the biggest losers was Ridian and Zero, losing 8 places respectively. And I will not count Dylan in that regards because he just pitted, and just saw in the background, by the way, Ardell getting past Savage for the 6th place spot, but Savage looking to capitalize again here on this straight. Meanwhile, Scarenzi and Mickey, also in that braking zone, gets ahead. So one McLaren gains a spot while another loses a spot. And I think Neymar just made a mistake. And Zero has gone into the pits. He has retired. He's done. So Zero will be done for the season. To end off the season with a retirement, that just has to straight up suck. And now Veloce pit. Oh, I think Veloce just had what I think he had. He came into the pits and got a penalty for it. So I think that's what happened. I'm thinking he probably... What happened with Veloce, he went in the pit and got in far enough that was like, oh, you did track limits. Here's a penalty. So he could probably get that removed as long as he does get any warnings there. As there goes Mickey down the inside and gets it done ahead of Scarenzi. But now let's see if he can hold it here. Now Mickey does have the better ERS advantage here. Coming into the Abu Dhabi Spoon. And no dice. Mickey holds his ground and stays ahead. Meanwhile, Resilience, just for a brief moment, has caught Neymar. So that is one driver caught on Resilience's part. Oh, Neymar just trying to keep it together. Let's go a little further back. I thought looked like Pavelson was getting close to Ivesy for the 10th place spot, but nothing coming out of that one. So Veloce got a penalty there. Ardell just got a penalty in turn 11. Here comes Evade now. Pavelson very close and on the back end of Ivesy, but not close enough to go for the attack to warrant here the sense. Let's go to Scarenzi now, getting closer. Is he not close enough to warrant an attack on Mickey at this moment? Also Resilience in DRS of Neymar, chasing him down. Dylan getting past Supervillain for the 8th place position, and ahead they go. Pavelson chasing Ardell down. Ardell with Ivesy now, and wild movements there, and we have a spin. That's Gobert out of turn 4. Scarenzi not close enough. There goes Ardell running off, and Pavelson again not close enough to get with Ivesy at this time. Neymar has come in. So Neymar is in, Scarenzi is in. So now with one of the top 3 in, and Scarenzi, who was chasing Mickey down, is in. So that means we could potentially see Rhythms, Resilience, and Mickey in a due time. And Supervillain sped in the pits. That is going to be a 10-second penalty there. Let's switch to the back group here. This little back group here, as Veloce down the inside against Pavelson in turn 5, gets the move done, and ahead he goes. Looks like Gobert has spun out in turn 13. So Gobert not having a great day at all on his part. Probably will be seeing him come in, maybe to retire. Perhaps. Into the pits he goes. Nothing yet. Veloce gets past Ivesy. Stupid camera angle. Couldn't get the proper battle. But Veloce up into the 10th place spot. Now, as long as he doesn't get any more warnings, Veloce can get that 3-second penalty he has removed, which will right now will actually put him up in the 9th, since he is within 3 seconds of Ardell. Savage is in the pits right now. Now Neymar did come out in the 5th place spot, and now is back up in the 4th, 10 seconds behind Mickey at this time. And Scarenzi gets past Cereals into 6. Now has some work to do to chase down Dylan, who's next ahead. So let's take a look at those who have yet to stop. So we have the top 3, which is Rhythms, Resilience, and Mickey. Cereals has yet to pit, along with Ivzy and Pavelson. Those two have yet to pit. Now it looks like Gobert just had another moment. He is now officially a lap down at this time. He is officially a lap down. Looks like Supervillain on the back of Timbed. This is going to be for the 14th place position, as Rhythms is in the pits. Mickey is in. Resilience continues. And looks like Neymar will get ahead of Rhythms here. So let's take a peek here as Rhythms will come out just alongside with Dylan. And looks like Rhythms will get the DRS, courtesy of being just a smidge behind. So Rhythms now with the DRS, clear air ahead, full throttle, off and away he goes. Dylan just trying to stay within tabs of him. Let's go a little further back. As Savage is eyeballing Ardell. This is for the 7th place position. Will Savage make the move? Down the inside he goes. Yes, he does. Mickey, by the way, came out in the 9th place position behind Veloce. Now Savage eyeballing Cereals now. Just uses all of his battery. Down the inside. Slingshots by. In he goes. And Cereals also loses another spot to Ardell. Resilience is in now. Now let's see where Resilience will come out. So Neymar will inherit the lead. Rhythms goes in the second, is 3.7 seconds behind. And Resilience is going to come out behind Scarenzi in 5th. So right now, with the championship standings as it sits, the championship will be in Rhythm's favor. But at this present moment, Neymar will secure. Right now, Neymar will secure the 2nd place position if the race ended right now, because Neymar has 3 wins to Resilience's 2, as Neymar and Resilience are currently tied for 2nd place. But Neymar will win by countback. So right now, that's the live championship standings right now going into this. We're on board with Resilience. There's Scarenzi dead ahead. Looks like a little further back. Looks like we got Supervillain. Oh, is that Gobert that gone for a spin? Again, the lap car of Gobert just not having a great time at all. Ooh, cuts the pit entry lane. You've seen that. Mickey, and there goes Gobert out of the race. He is done. So we have 2 DNS so far. We have Zero and Gobert both out. And also, as we saw when we were on board with Mickey, Gobert not having a great time at all. So it looks like the field is pretty much kind of sort of spread out just a bit. Closest battle right now is Ivzy with Timbed. That is for the 12th place. That's for the 12th place position. It's right on board with the Haas of Timbed. Just hunting and trying it and getting it done. Slingshots past Ivesy into the 12th place spot. Ivesy did try a good maneuver by a good defense attempt by planting his car in the middle of the track, but against Timbed, just couldn't make it stick and be self-sufficient. Looks like Veloce is within DRS of Ardell right now in the 8th place spot. Resilience has caught up. Resilience has caught Scarenzi and is within DRS of him. That's for 4th place, which means, as we just got a spin that is Invade, he's gone for a slide out of the Abu Dhabi Spoon. Now Scarenzi ahead of Resilience. Oh my god! And Ridian into the penalty box. I thought that was Rhythms for a second. I had to catch myself. I'm sorry. But there goes Resilience on the outside and past Scarenzi into 4th place. That was Ridian that got the penalty. And looks like he did that when he was going into the pits. So Ridian can get that removed if he doesn't get any more warnings later on. Looks like Resilience now within DRS of Dylan. And now let's see what's going to happen here in regards to that. As Mickey and Savage switch positions, McLaren switch spots. Mickey in the 6th, Savage in 7th. Gotta give credit to Savage starting dead last, gained 7 spots on the opening lap, and is looking at some decent points right now in that 7th place spot. He's only looking at 6, but I mean, we're just getting put into the McLaren completely suddenly. It's actually not bad on his regard, but there's Resilience trying to catch Dylan to go for the 3rd place spot. Neymar still ahead of Rhythms, 3.6 seconds the gap. And Resilience now chasing for that 3rd place spot. A little tiny. Not sure if there was a tiny bit of contact, but Resilience makes the move and gets it done. Up to 3rd goes Resilience. Here we go. Looks like the McLarens are switching back again. As Savage gets clear of Mickey. So now Resilience needs to do whatever he can. He's 5.7 seconds behind Rhythms. As Mickey gets past Savage again. McLarens are no papaya rules involved. They're having some fun. But yeah, Resilience 5.5 seconds behind Rhythms, and with 13 laps to go, as Ridian gets past Invade for the 13th place position. But yeah, with 13 laps to go, Resilience needs to do something, because if Resilience can get past Rhythms in any way, Resilience will get the Drivers' Championship. Because literally, all Resilience has to do is beat Rhythms. That's all he's got to do in order to win. He's got to beat him. 6 seconds now to gap. We have a spin. Timbed spins from 10th. And is in trouble. Back in the pits he goes. Mishap on Timbed's part. And that's just gonna hurt him. I mean, did he blow? No, he didn't blow a tire. That's a good sign. He didn't blow a tire. That would have sucked if he blew a tire. Mickey and Savage just having their fun. Well, let's take a look. Once Resilience and Rhythms cross the line, we'll see what their last lap was currently looking at. But yeah, let's take a look here with Rhythms as when he comes across the line for this previous lap. This lap is a 26.6 for Rhythms, as a 27.3 for Resilience. So Rhythms 7/10 of a lap advantage over Resilience on this particular lap. Scarenzi is in for his second stop. Same with Veloce. So it looks like we're looking at some 2 stops involved for a couple of these drivers. But will this mean that will any of the top 3 take a risk and go with the 1 stop, or just hope and pray go for a 2, or just take a risk with a 2 stop and just hope maybe the 1 stop people blow up? Let's take a look at the tire demographic here. So Neymar is on the worst end of the hard tire wear. He's on 8 laps. Rhythms is on 6, and Resilience is on 5. So Neymar pitted at the end of lap 10. Rhythms came in on lap 12, and Resilience the next lap later at lap 13. So, I mean, depending on the tire management, Resilience and Rhythms could possibly go to the end of the race. Neymar! Oh my god, Neymar! He pitted and he sped! Oh my god, Neymar! Oh! Ay, dude! Well, that 10-second penalty, I think that was the death blow to Neymar. So Neymar, with that 10-second penalty, that's the death blow. He's pretty much dead in the water now for getting the Drivers' Championship. Dylan, by the way, coming out ahead, just behind Scarenzi, actually. Rivalry back at it again. Veloce in for a second stop. Neymar, by the way, came out in the 5th place position. Dylan, wanted to go on the inside, but now forced to the outside. Gets the move done, and into the 6th place spot goes Dylan. Let's see what's going to happen here. Here comes Rhythms into the last corner and across. So it's a 27-2 for Rhythms. And a 27-2. So they are equal for times. Looks like Timbit has spun out and will go a lap down to Rhythms here. Oh, little slide. Little snap slide for Rhythms. Looks like Invade slowed down and let Timbit on, and Timbit's now lapped down. Let's keep an eye on a couple of fights here coming up as McLaren switch again. Savage ahead of Mickey. Let's go with Scarenzi and Dylan here. Let's see if Dylan can get by and see if he can stamp the mark on. Let's see the McLaren switch again. Nothing coming out for Scarenzi over Dylan here. On the inside goes Veloce against Ardell, and he makes the move work. And ahead in 8th goes Veloce, but can he keep it? Meanwhile, here in the spoon, Dylan not close enough again. Just can't seem to get it done. Neymar on the back end of Savage. And there it goes, the 2 on the outside. Ardell on the outside, trying to stay in tune with Veloce. Just can't seem to get it done. A little snap on Veloce's car, but keeps the position and stays in 8th place is Veloce. Let's go on board with Neymar. Chasing Mickey and Savage. Down the inside, just slingshots right by Savage here. And we'll have DRS as well. Same with Savage. Both of them will have DRS available. And now Mickey on hand, being chased down by Neymar. Neymar snuck a peek, but decided against it. Contact into the back with Mickey. Ivesy into the penalty box. And now the DRS out again, and a slingshot. Neymar gets back into third, but bear in mind, he has that 10-second penalty, though. So if Mickey and Savage can stay within 10 seconds, they'll get it done. We have an incident in Sector 3. That is Timbed going slow, exiting out. Who is currently lapped. Looks like now Resilience now 7 seconds behind Rhythms right now. So Resilience 7 seconds behind Rhythms. Right now the championship is going to be in Resilience's favor. Timbed's just horsing around currently, and Supervillain has now gone lapped by Rhythms, and Resilience getting DRS help from the lap car of Invade. But can't seem to gain any ground in regards to there. Well, looks like by the looks of it, I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like Resilience is gaining ground in the corners, but on the straights is where it goes. I don't even know what in the world Timbed's doing, is he's just still screwing around. He's in the spoon corner, just horsing around. Savage is into the pits for a second stop, so he will come out behind Dylan and Scarenzi, as those two are still fighting over that 6th place spot. But speaking of Dylan, he just set the fastest lap of the race. Looks like Resilience just gained about 4/10 on Rhythms here in that last lap. And Timbed is now causing even more problems in turn 4 now. I don't even know what Timbed is even doing. Because in the span of like the last 2 minutes, he spun out 4 times. Not sure what in the world's going on there. Alright, so currently, because of Savage's second stop, Neymar, at worst, will be falling down to the 4th place spot because Mickey is about 3.8 seconds behind him. But let's take a look at the last lap between Rhythms and Resilience. So the last lap, 28-1 for Rhythms, a 28-0 for Resilience. So Resilience gained about 1/10 on him. Looks like Rhythms is just being a DRS tower for Oh, that was a nasty snap on the rear by Rhythms, and Resilience now trying to gain even more ground. But once these guys cross the line, once Rhythms crosses the line, 5 laps left in this Grand Prix, and a lot of times going inside, that is the lap car of Supervillain, just spending a lot of time inside Rhythms. Now Resilience has gained even more ground. Currently 5.7 seconds, so Resilience gained about half a second in that last lap. And still gaining more ground. No fights currently at this present moment. Everybody's too spread out. Let's take a look at the penalties that everybody's got. So here it is right here. So Dylan, Veloce, Ardell, Ridian, Pavelson, and Invade have 3-second penalties. Ivesy has 6 seconds, and Neymar has 10. If he gains another 3 seconds on Mickey, he will be clear of Mickey and keep the position. Now, speaking of the positions, let's take a look at this here. Rhythms on 13-lap-old hard compound tires. Resilience on 12-lap-old hard compounds. Mickey is also on 13-lap-old hards. Neymar has half the wear on the hards compared to everybody else. And Neymar, by the way, is closing in on Resilience. So yes, that is correct. That is correct, Dolsky. We did see that with Veloce and Ridian via the track map. We do believe they got the penalties because of the entering the pits. I'm not sure if any of the others were involved in it as well. I know one of Invade's penalties was in Sector 3, and that was the same with Ardell. It was just before turn 11. That was where he got his penalty. Yep. Yeah, for some reason that glitch, that pit lane glitch, that's been in here since F123. It started in F123, and a lot of people in RPL, not just in Tier 3, but in other tiers, Tier 2, Tier 1, and in F2, they've experienced it one way or another. Neymar currently 1.5 seconds behind Resilience. Even though he is pretty much out of it, he can try to give Resilience a headache. And it looks like Resilience is trying to get close enough to Supervillain to snag some DRS. 5 seconds is the gap between Rhythms and Resilience. And with only 3 laps to go, anything can happen. Oh wait, that's Ivesy ahead of Resilience. I do apologize. Supervillain is still attached to Rhythm's ass. And Neymar is now on the ass of Resilience. Got the DRS, but so the Resilience, courtesy of Ivesy. And still, let's see what's gonna happen here. Looks like we may have another battle coming up. This time between Cyrils and Ridian for the 10th place position. And Cyrils has gone into the pits with 2 to go. And he just gave up the 10th place spot. So Ridian will get 10th regardless of what happens. But Neymar all over the back of Rhythms right now. Dolsky. Okay, you're the new guy. You're the guy for next season for Aston. Okay. Good to know. Oh! Savage! No, that's Mickey! Mickey spun! Oh boy! Mickey has spun and crashed, lost both end plates. Now Dylan is up in the 4th. Oh, Jesus. But now Neymar against Resilience. Up the back end. Just putting pressure. I think, yeah, Neymar. Oh! Contact! And a slide! By Neymar. That's probably going to be a penalty on Neymar there. And Neymar gets the position back, but that was a contact. Because we saw Neymar look to dive in, was not alongside enough, and then that half spin on Resilience. That just cost the Resilience close to a second of time. And into the final corner we go, and we'll be starting the final lap for Tier 3. The final lap is on hand. Mickey, by the way, just lost 5th place to Scorenzi. That occurred, and now lost 6th to Savage. That happened while we were focused on Neymar and Resilience here. We are keeping an eye on this here as now take 2 going in as Neymar has the DRS going down the inside. This time not close still not close enough, but it's just toying with Resilience right now. And now Neymar gets a wiggle out of there. And nothing to come out of that. And now down the inside he goes. Muscles his way into second. Goes Neymar. But he will lose the spot because of that penalty. But let's go to him. In the closest fight for Tier 3, he held it good. Being in the front row from the start. And gets it all. Heading into the final corner. He has done it and succeeded. Rhythms wins in Tier 3 in Abu Dhabi and is champion of the world. Resilience will come in second. Neymar will claim third. Dylan will come across in the 4th place position. Scorenzi just misses out on 4th. Will be taking a nice 5th place finish. Savage start dead last in 6th as well. Will be 6th. Mickey will be 7th. And now for the rest of the points. Veloce, 8th. And now we got a long wait ahead for the next drivers. Ardell. Timbet, DQ for driving the wrong way. Dingus. Anyways, Ardell, 9th. And coming out of the final corner, Ridian, despite the big miss at the start, does recover and gets a point. 10th place for him. But you gotta give the credit here to this man, Rhythms. Your Tier 3 Season 6 World Drivers Champion. Congratulations to Rhythms. What a way to end Tier 3. Now I know what the game is gonna do. It's gonna give Savage the driver of the day. I mean, I think I have an obligation to give it to Ridian. I think he was a bit of an underdog in this championship scenario, and he capitalized on that underdog. He dominated qualifying and did really good in the race, and he got the championship. Solid work for Rhythms. And you got to give also good credit to Neymar and Resilience for putting up a good fight throughout the entire season. I mean, Neymar, it all went south because of that speeding penalty. And Resilience tried his damnedest, but just came up on the short end. But yeah, Rhythm's the race winner. Fastest lap for Dylan. Driver Day did give it to Savage. And then here is the results here. So Rhythms, Resilience, Neymar, Dylan, Scarenzi, Savage, Mickey, Veloce, Ardell, and Ridian are your top 10. And then the rest of the grid, it is Cyril's in 11th, Pavelson 12th. Lap cars, it is Supervillain, Invade, and Ivesy. Gobert, 0, DNF'd, and Timbed just being Timbed. DQ'd for driving the wrong way. Well, that is going to conclude the stream for tonight. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a interview with Rhythms at this moment. We'll try to get that figured out. We'll have to figure something out in regards to that. But Tier 2 and Tier 1 will continue for the finale of the weekend. We have Abu Dhabi coming up for Tier 2 tomorrow. I believe Beatnik and Faded will be on hand for comms. We'll have to double check in that regard. And then I will be on hand for Tier 1 comms with SV to wrap up the Tier 1 season at Abu Dhabi as well. And then Sunday will be the last week of Le Mans Ultimate. They will be at Bahrain to wrap up their season. Now, as for next season for Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and LMU, we don't know what we're looking at in regards to that, but if we do have more info in regards to those seasons, stay tuned to our social medias for RPL Realistic Performance League. You can find it on our Twitter, our Instagram, and also check out the YouTube channel to also watch all the past races that you may have seen, or just want to watch some history of our past years here in F1. But from RPL Streams, Saturday Ironwolf, we will be signing off. Good night, and we will see you tomorrow for Tier 2.